At 6 o'clock, if you would like to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be wonderful.
The number of compliments I receive every time
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Call the meeting to order and do this. Do what duties tonight? So either one of you would like to take roll?
I'll start with the roll call. How
All
about
right.
that? Okay, Mayor Troy Smith,
Present.
Alderman Casey Hillier, present. Alderman Jeremy Hill, Alderman David King,
Present.
Alderman Joyce Lancaster, Alderman Scott Swatash,
Present.
and Alderman Carol Wilson. Present. Thank you. Mayor, we do have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Item number 2, any amendments to the agenda, Wes?
No amendments, but I did want to call out, we have a closed session ahead of citizen input to discuss a legal matter. Since there are people here, we might step out in the back, so you have to leave. And then we'll have another closed session towards the end that's more lengthy, so we'll let that one for the end.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, item number 3, consent agenda. If everybody has had a chance to review those items already, we need to take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
A second. Okay, we have a first and a second. Alderman Hillier? Yes. Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Swatash?
Yes.
And Alderman Wilson? Yes. Thank you.
Item number 4, current outstanding invoices, drafts, and check and paid invoices. Anything new there, Wes?
Nope, nothing this week.
Nothing. If everybody's had a minute to review those, after they've reviewed them, so we can have a motion, that'd be great.
I'll make a motion that we approve the current outstanding invoices, draft and check paid invoices.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Alderman Hillier?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Swatash?
Yes.
And Alderman Wilson? Yes. Thank you.
All right. Item number 5, oath of office for our new city clerk, Rebecca Hanson.
Maybe raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. I, Rebecca Hanson,
I, Rebecca Hanson,
do hereby swear and affirm
do hereby swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws of the state
the provisions of all laws of the state
affecting cities of this class,
affecting cities of this class,
and the ordinances of the city,
and the ordinances of the city,
and faithfully demean myself while in office.
and faithfully demean myself while in office.
I will execute the duties of city clerk
I will execute the duties of city clerk
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. All right, before we get to item number 6, we just got a proclamation for the Ronald McDonald House that I signed. I just wanted the other aldermen and the public to know that the Ronald McDonald House in Greene County has served over 1,031 Greene County families, 69 of which have been residents of Willard. And that for the time frame of, sorry, I didn't read the whole thing here. I didn't want to read it for everybody, but February 10th through February 26th, we will declare that that week is the Ronald McDonald House Week. So just so you guys know. And somebody will volunteer afterwards to get a photo to send to McDonald's. You guys decide which person volunteers to take a photo. So, thank you.
Shane Crowder. We got it.
Steve's so cheery, he might elect to do it.
I volunteer Steve.
No, I meant that Steve. Oh, God.
I'll be glad to do it.
Steve and Steve.
All right, so item number 6 is to recess the open session, open the closed session pursuant to RSMO section 610.021, subsection 1, legal.
You just went through it. Why didn't you give me?
Because I need you to make the motion.
Make a motion that we recess the open session and open the closed session pursuant to RSMO section 610.021 subsection 1 legal.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Alderman Villiard?
Yes.
Alderman Keane?
Yes.
Alderman Swatash?
Yes.
And Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, folks.
That we reopen the open session.
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. Alderman Villiard?
Yes.
Alderman Keane?
Yes.
Alderman Swatash?
Yes.
And Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we'll recall the meeting to order. Looks like we need to do roll call again.
Mayor Troy Smith?
Present.
Alderman Villiard?
Present.
Alderman Keane?
Present.
Alderman Swatash?
Present.
And Alderman Wilson?
Present.
Thank you.
Nobody got lost.
Well, I didn't go to do that part. All right, we're gonna go to 10 then, the citizen input. If there's anybody that would like to step forward and provide citizen input, just keep in mind that it's an input session only, and we'd like to keep it 3 minutes maximum. So if there's anybody step forward, state your name, your address, and let us know what's on your mind.
Okay. I'm not sure if this is where I'm supposed to talk or not, but I'll start there. My name is Bart Sheffield. My wife and I own a concrete company, B&B Concrete Solutions. I contacted Miss Gargis at the city clerk, Ms. Dennis, to see about getting on the agenda. We were contracted by the city of Willard to do, the Public Works Department, to do the ATM project down New Melville to, or AB New Melville all the way down to Barwick there. We got stopped on the project at AB Highway. The MoDOT inspector stopped me when I was setting the string line to finish the last 200 foot of forms, told me we was on MoDOT right away, and that we needed to, the city needed to pull a permit to do this. But let me tell you this, this is not the first work that we've done for the city of Willard. We've done, over the last 3 years, we've done 9 jobs for them, including the salt barn floor, the footings. We poured the new floor and the footings for the new public works building. We've done all the toe walls on the box culvert that they put in, whatever the one is, one block over from New Melville. We've done numerous, we've done Hutton Street ADA improvements, numerous driveways that they, sidewalks, curbs, street patches that they tore out, having to fix things there. So when we were contracted to do the project, we were contracted, Shane Fox has always been my contact, to do any work for him. We did, they were talking about doing an ATM project. We were contracted to do, basically, he sent me a paragraph that I have, and my wife made some packets. I didn't tell you how many of you guys were here and what disposal we were gonna be to, but we were contracted to do 935 feet of 5-foot sidewalk. That's all the sidewalk. Also, with those sidewalks, if you walk the sidewalks at all, every time a sidewalk meets a road, there's what they call an ADA tile, or the bumps, those are called ADA ramps. Also, every time that, like, a driveway's has this slope, the driveways have to be replaced to a certain point and be made ADA compliant, so when the people come through there, that's level, and then the driveway goes back to whatever the tie-in grade is. We have installed 7 ADA ramps, tore out and replaced 5 driveways, installed some big whistles down the end. Every bit of work that we've done has been approved. We did a walkthrough with Mike Rich and Shane Fox before we did the project. Even before we did what was gonna be what was gonna be like a walk bridge, decided to go across the street, Trevor and Shane came by and said, hey, you know, let's do it like this, we'll get some whistles, that way the water runs across there. He's like, Mark, let's do it, you know. So every single, thing that we did was not necessarily on paper, but everything that we did was approved. We done the box culvert, there was no contract, no paperwork on it, the city was in a hurry to do it. We did it in 3 days, broke off and everything was done, and it was a $14,000 project, you know. The reason I'm here is because the city owes us, $27,000. That's for the 7 ADA ramps, at $1,500 a piece. That's for tearing out the concrete, hauling off the old concrete, pouring in 5 new driveways, and the whistles down the bottom. It's just a simple add-on to the contract that's already in place. I turned that bill in to Shane Fox. Shane Fox, my Chris called me on and told me it was too much. It's not too much. Matter of fact, it's very affordable. My wife's made itemized things for us. We talked to an attorney. Mike wanted for us to turn in all our itemized everything and give it to the city attorney. We did that. And we talked to an attorney. We're not trying to make things difficult for the city. What we want to do is we want to complete the 250 sidewalk. See, they already paid us for the 935 foot of sidewalk. We would have been paid for the sidewalk that's not poured out there. So we want the we're contracted to do. When I talked to Mike and said, Mike, you know, we just want to get paid on our bill and we want to finish the rest of the 200 foot of sidewalk. He said, well, Bart, I don't know if you guys can do the rest of the sidewalk or not because you weren't listed at the contractors to do the work when we got the contract. And I said, Mike, why would you not list us as the contractors to do the work when we're already under contract? You know? So we want to, I'm here to submit my bill and to get it approved. We have 6 copies of our bills for the 7 ADA ramps and the 5 driveways. And we also want to be put on the MoDOT contract to complete the 200 foot of city sidewalk and get this job off our books. That's what we're here for. Now, and I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Not at this point.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing no one else, we will close the citizen input section. All right, number 11, looks like we have a few resolutions. All right. Looks like the first one is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Wheeler, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a work agreement with Algier Martin and Associates to construct a drainage channel on Missouri Department of Transportation right-of-way between US Highway 160 and Proctor Road.
So this began as what we thought was going to be a simple process between the city and MoDOT to redivert some water away from a residential area that was getting in excess of water. It turned out to be a marathon between MoDOT and FEMA in which we finally received some preliminary approvals pending on some noticing to the public. What this is everything from the high school south drains down through the subway parking lot, down Taco Bell, across by Sonic, then under the 160. And it currently drains from the 160 to Proctor Road and then goes behind the Gage Crossing residential development right there. And then they have a covert that dumps it into the main Willard drainage channel. What this is proposing is we will re-divert the water when it discharges south of the 160 along the MoDOT right-of-way directly into the Willard drainage channel. Totally avoiding the residential.
So get away from Gage Street.
Totally, yeah. So we'll take that water and we'll redirect it immediately into the channel and just reduce the stormwater that Gage Street gets. And that's basically what this is doing. It's just a reduction. We're not increasing water in the Southview channel. We're not doing any of that. All this water already discharges in the Willard Channel, so there's no increase to the citizens downstream. But there is a great improvement on how we're redirecting the water. And what this is just a contract with Algier Martin to engineer that. From here on out, all city projects are gonna have engineering just for the liability of things. We wanna take that off of us and have some second opinions. So that's what this resolution is for, is just for some engineering to create that change for us.
Thank you.
Mayor, let me bring some issues up. Third line of the title of the resolution says Alger Martin and Associates Incorporated to construct. That really should be design or engineer. They're not in the contracting construction business.
What line did you say that was, Steve?
Third line of the title.
Okay.
And we can amend that.
All right.
And then the other thing is,
Hold on a second, Steve, back up, you said design and what?
Just design.
Just design? Okay.
and the other thing is, the resolution calls for you to enter into the agreement, but on the actual contract with Alger Martin, as Wes is entering to the agreement. So, you need to pick one.
I prefer Wes enters into all the agreements personally, but.
But if you pick Wes, it needs.
I had asked them to send it back with the correct wording, but they have not yet got it back to us.
All right.
I figured we could just line it through and
I
move along.
can adjust the signed copy to reflect that.
All right, thank you.
Any questions?
Does this need a vote?
You'd like motion, yeah.
I make a motion that we enter, or approve the resolution to enter into the work agreement with Alger Martin to construct the drainage channel. For MoDOT, for the right of way between 160 and Parker Road.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Alderman Villier?
Yes.
Alderman King? Alderman Swatosh?
Yes.
And Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 11-8, a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a work agreement with CJW Transportation Consultants LLC for engineering services.
Okay. This is in conjunction of our plan to continue the revitalization, that's a big word for a Monday, revitalization of the downtown in conjunction with the sidewalk that's going to be from Miller Street all the way to the downtown. We tasked CJW to look at some added parking as parallel parking along Jackson Street between the entrance to the school or the exit of the school all the way up to Main Street. And what this is it'll give us engineering and a detailed breakdown in phases of what costs are going to be, so the city can actually look at coming in and do that in sections. So the engineering break, no higher cost is $30,000. But once this is in and engineered, the city can take that on, and as we have time and resources, we can go in and add that parking according to the engineer that it's already done. So.
When you said the school, you mean the middle school?
Yeah, so the parking is from Main Street, that four-way stop sign, east, all the way to the entrance of the middle school. So they have some storm water that's gonna have to go underground, and with parallel parking, we don't want them opening the door into the street, so there's gonna be a sidewalk on that side also where they can open up and get onto the sidewalk, some different things like that. And then obviously the storm water is gonna have to be piped underground. So those are some of the costs involved, but we're hoping with some of the new equipment that we've gotten this year and everything like that, we can break this off into phases and do it ourselves, save us the construction costs.
And the agreement with CJW calls for Willard's project representative. You want line through that, and Troy, if you sign it, put your title.
All right. Can we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution for the city of Willard to authorize the mayor to enter into a work agreement with CJW Transport Consultants for engineering services.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Alderman Villiers,
Yes.
Alderman King,
Yes.
Alderman Swatas,
Yes.
and Alderman Wilson. Yes. Thank you.
All right. Next one, a resolution, Board of Aldermen of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a 12-month subscription with See My Legacy.
This one right here, See My Legacy is a kind of a platform that captures donations, volunteer opportunities. Most people kind of take care of that online. Carolyn, I think, had a more detailed explanation of it, but that's it in a nutshell. As it's a platform for people to sign up for opportunities and donate, contribute, help with community building and growth.
Was there a cost associated with that?
Yeah, it's shows on here with a discount of $22.49 for a 1-year subscription. After which time, if we're not seeing the benefit from it, then we can cut that off the books. Perfect.
Do we have any more information as to specifics for what this will be used for?
I'm afraid not.
I actually do.
Oh, you do? There you
Yeah,
go.
this,
Thank you.
I'm spearheading this project, so essentially what we're looking for is just a way to bring our online platform for donating into the 21st century. So we recognize when we were building the playground that we don't really have a good program for soliciting and accepting memorial donations or other contributory donations that aren't through either GoFundMe or a Facebook platform, which just don't really ooze professionalism. So we looked into some different options for a platform build out that direct deposits straight into our account. It's got customer service managers on there that we have access to. Basically, the department or the city will provide the rough framework. These people build out the webpage, build out the donation level at our direction, and then it's a one-click link that we can share out through either our email or our Facebook or through our app, and just say, we're looking to develop a pump track at the Highline. Here's the cost of this project. You can buy in at these levels, XYZ. And then there's additional contribution storyboards that they can opt into. So it's a QR code. So say I decided to give $100,000 to the playground. I could put a QR tag somewhere on the playground, and if someone wanted to scan that, they would see that I gave this money because it was one of my grandfather's dying wishes to see children of all abilities be able to play together. I can tell a story about my grandpa, I can tell a story about my, that legacy, and have that be a digital representation on their phone to really tell that story without having to clutter up the park or the playground with a bunch of signage. And also for that contribution makes the donor feel really special. An added benefit of it is that it has a volunteer management side of it, so we can set up volunteer programs. We can put in, say, we need 30 volunteers for the Freedom Fest event. We can put in those time slots, put in those things, and people can sign up for that, and then we can track them and acknowledge them through the platform without having to do a lot of in-person shuffling around of volunteer sign-up. So.
Do you use Sign Up Genius for?
We do for some of our sports stuff. It works. This kind of rolls everything into one location to do it.
It's kind of free, right?
Yeah. Well, there is a free version and there's also a paid version that gets you a lot more levels of it, but.
So if this software, someone can hit a donate tab and get out their debit card and it will.
There's a
Shoot into
3%
what
charge on
fund?
your debit card, but if you want to do ACH, it's like a no more than $6 fee, so. it's
So
like-
Wes, that would funnel what, right into this general or? I know I'm not putting the cart before the horse here, but I don't know where the money's gonna go and how it's
I
gonna
think it
go.
would determine how we set it up on the back end. We can maybe table this, Carolyn can explain that, but I believe it's set when we get receipts. The utility folks have a coding sheet so they can kind of direct the receipts to wherever they're supposed to go. So if it's a cost related donation, we go to POPs, in theory, we could expand it out to something the city's doing, maybe something to do with a memorial, veteran memorial, which maybe fund that way. So I think it's gonna be one of those things, it sounds like you've got a kind of comprehensive plan for the pump side, but it's potentially expandable to go to different funds.
What was the, actually hold it for a year.
Can we entertain a motion if there's no
Just
more?
improve it, we hold that money in case the roads that ones or anything like that.
All right, check that out. Dave usually keeps track of the ones that we checked on. Yeah,
It's a resolution, so
so yeah, we would like a,
a motion.
we'd like a motion, all right.
I'd like to make a motion we table until we get some more information on this. Carolyn?
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, we have a first and a second to table the resolution for See My Legacy. Alderman Hilliard,
Yes.
Alderman Keane,
Yes.
Alderman Swatash,
Yes.
and Alderman Wilson.
Okay, section 12. 12-10, I don't know if everybody's seen this mine, but an ordinance for the Board of Aldermen of the City of Willard, Missouri to amend the convenience fee for a tentative payment. This is our second reading.
This is what we discussed last time. Credit card companies bumped the rate and the city has been carrying that rate for a little bit. We need to have an ordinance to pass that along to the consumer. It does reference in here, let me find, so section 3, subsection D, it says 6.6% plus $1.25. I believe the $1.25 is an additional fee carried by the cardholder. It's quite a convoluted process. Online, they get kind of told, customers will get told that on the front end as they're paying, so it is an unfortunate thing, especially in light of the rates going up. However, customers do have options to avoid it: check, cash, ACH, debit from their account, with of course avoid all those fees. Those are reflected here on the ordinance as well. That there are no charge options. So this is just for those paying by credit card or debit card, passing that fee transaction along to the customer.
If you don't pass the fee on, we can't take credit card. So, because that's a cost the city can't absorb. We can't use public funds to pay for private fees, so either they absorb it or we don't take it.
So don't we need this, I can read before we vote?
Yes.
An ordinance by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Willard, Missouri to amend the convenience fee for alternative payment.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Alderman Hilliard,
Yes.
Alderman Keane,
Yes.
Alderman Swatash,
Yes.
and Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the next one, I believe, is a first read. An ordinance revising and replacing section 400.1500 of the city code regarding excavation.
I promise I'm gonna be done soon. So this ordinance came to our attention after struggling for 4 months with a communications company that went through town and just had their way with us. We decided that to change some things. Wow. So we did. So I'm going to go over some of the changes quickly. One F, it basically defines that everybody in here will be insured up to $500,000 per occurrence on property damage, personal injury, or wrongful death. We do require insurance. We're just defining now numbers of what we want to see. And he needs to have, he can't elect to have a copy of that liability insurance on file with us in the clerk's office. So one thing we did do is we obviously they do need a permit. The permit cost is the same. We approved these 6 months ago. We didn't change the permit cost, but we did change the scope of that permit is good for 1,000 feet. A particular contractor that was here came in and initially pulled a permit for Hoffman Hills. It was later found out that he had 6.7 miles of cable that he was putting in around town that he never let anybody know about until he was caught. So Public Works doesn't have the manpower nor the patience to follow people around like that. So we're defining the scope to 1,000 feet of infrastructure, whether it's cable or electric or whatever they're putting in per permit. Once they go through and install that according to Public Works standard, it gets approved, they can come in and pull another permit and move on their way. Also, we require bonding. Per the project, the bonding will be not less than $5,000. But with the bigger companies that come in and have a larger scope, we will allow them to come up to $500,000 of bonding that we just keep on file on a yearly basis. So if Looney came back, excuse me, if the communications contractor came back in and wanted to do a big project, we would just refer them to a large bond, which we could just hold for a year for the entire project and not the 1,000 feet. We want the whole scope of the project, and that's why we put that in there. We had some problems, a lot of problems with them digging in the easement. Blue stakes would be called. They would mark where the blue stake was. They would dig. They would move 24 inches away and just start digging and run into utilities and then take pictures and say, sorry city, it's your fault. Technically the wording says if you're 24 inches away, you still dig carefully, and you're in a utility easement, utilities are gonna be there. So we added wording in there that if it shows that you were not using caution in the utility easement, the city's not gonna be liable for that. You're gonna be liable. So what we found is I did multiple site visits on this particular contractor, and there was not caution being used. They didn't have a spotter. They weren't slowly scraping material away. They were digging as fast as they could, scooping and throwing, and then they run into a utility and say, oh, pull up, tape measure, I'm not within 24 inches. It doesn't matter.
Is this 24-inch rule that you referred to, is that a statutory thing or a case law?
No, 811 states if you're not within 24 inches, you can use equipment. If you're within 24 inches, you have to hand dig. Because you're within 24 inches of marked utility.
Is that case law, Nate, or is that just
I'm sure that's probably a statute they use.
Yes. So,
but it does still say they're supposed, even with equipment, they're supposed to have a spotter.
but even on the website, it says they need to use caution, and that's what we're trying to say is, if you're digging with a machine, even if you're 24 inches away and you don't have a spotter and you're scooping and throwing, you're not using caution in utilities.
Your rule was the same in Kansas, so I wonder if it might be a higher rule.
So do we have any questions so far? I know I'm moving through this kind of fast.
How does this ordinance that you've got drawn up here compare to, let's say, a township just a little larger than us, like Republic?
I would say it's pretty similar because I pulled some of this from Republic and Springfield. So, we, like I said, we added the 1,000-foot project scope because I think it's still large enough for companies to come in and do, you know, what they need to do, but it gives us an opportunity to make sure it gets in right.
What would you say about increasing the bonding cost for the amount of footage, having a tiered system in place here? Like, you know, if you're digging 100 feet of line, your bond would not be near as much as if you're digging 1,000 feet.
Yeah, no, and we do have a revolving scale on that. All it states is the bond will not be less than $5,000, and will not be more than 500. So, depending on the scope, usually if they're boring and they have to go into a street, it's gonna be $10,000–15,000 anyway, because if there's any damage, you know, we can't replace that for.
And then,
So
remind me again, with the insurance, the values on the insurance requirements were?
500,000 minimum for personal injury and liability.
No umbrella?
No, and that's pretty standard. That's by statute of state law. That's not us just pulling numbers up.
Sounds like.
Yeah. Would you like me to look at the numbers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a little light. I mean, we're posting $1 million, you know, 2 million umbrella, 5 million umbrellas.
I'll look into the insurance numbers. Great. Anything else? No. Okay. Another thing we saw with regards to the communications, they'd be working in 4 or 5 different locations, and we'd have holes left open where they were digging. They didn't quite finish up, so they'd leave the excavator's bucket in the hole and put some caution tape up and go home. That's not a good look, and that's not what we want to see. So by 5 o'clock every day, if they're not done, they'll refill the hole in and start again tomorrow morning. It's not that much to scoop out a hole that's already been dug. So, but it does help us if somebody's walking on a sidewalk and there's a hole right there. We don't have to worry about them falling in.
I think that might be motivation to get the job done faster too.
That's true. That's true. One of the big things that was a change is Public Works will do a final inspection. I mean, Public Works does spot checks all the time, and they walk people through and everything like that, but they'll do a final inspection. This ordinance, we will not release the bond for a year after the final approval, because we don't know what the road's gonna do, we don't know if their trench is gonna settle, we don't know any of that. So, we're gonna have a period of 12 months to let things weather and settle and everything like that, and see what it looks like before we release that bond. I just hate for the city to be stuck with some cost of something that was installed not correctly, and now we have no recourse. So that's one of the things we put in for that. And then basically we said if you're late to the game in a subdivision and everything like that, you're not cutting the road, you'll bore. It's just too hard to get in. You can't get anything in correctly. You're always gonna settle. You're always gonna have some sort of dip or hump or bump, and we have enough of those already. So, and then damages and penalties on H. I sent this to legal, and I know he told me to do this, but it's gonna be a minimum of $100, no more than $500 per violation. Each day represents a separate violation. I did have forced servitude in here, but he made me took that out. I did have confinement to the county jail for a period not to exceed 1 month, and he made me take that out.
I still see that in here.
I know, but I scratched it out of my copy. So that's all that matters. So, I guess slavery is no longer an option, but we did define the penalties between $100 and $500 per instance per day. And then if they have materials in the public way that they were told to move or clean up or anything like that, and they don't clean up, teeth in this ordinance that allows the public works director to go in and move that, but it'll be at 3 times his going labor and materials rate, or $500, whichever is more. So if the contractor's not cleaned up for himself and public works has to go do that, there is some recourse that they would have to pay on that. And I think that is basically all. So we're just trying to give, in conjunction with this, I have been talking with Wes on new development and everything like that, maybe drafting an ordinance that we have the new developer put in a 3-inch conduit in the development for fiber. So if the fiber companies are late to the game and everything like that, they're not tearing the development up, they're just paying us a rental fee to use our 3-inch conduit to put their fiber in. So it might be something we look at further down the road, but that's not part of this ordinance.
It should probably be specification.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, it'd be a lot cheaper to rent space in our conduit that's already there than to,
Dig down and start growing.
yeah. So,
They put conduit in off the hill.
some of it they didn't, yeah, so. Any questions, concerns? Come on, there's gotta be something. You want me to put the jail sentence back in?
Yes.
Nate's still shaking his head.
No. All right, 1212, an ordinance establishing, this is also first reading, an ordinance establishing a performance evaluation and merit raise policy for full-time employees of the city of Willard.
I can probably sum this up in a nutshell. I gave you guys a memo to kind of go with it and give you a taste. But right now we have a system of step increases, annual step increases. They're not really that I can tell based on anything other than just doing your job. They don't reward people who do well, and neither do they kind of penalize people who don't do well with a lower raise. Everybody gets the same. So this policy will put in there requirements for how we approach a merit raise, how we evaluate performance, the metrics we look at. It also puts in place a system for ad hoc evaluations, so if there's a problem, the supervisors will be expected to tackle that sooner through an evaluation that goes through a chain of review before it's presented to the employee, and then gives that employee an opportunity to correct themselves through performance improvement plans and the like. It also gives a 6-month check-in, just an informal sit-down with the employee, let them know how they're doing, some things they can do to do better, and ultimately is more motivational through the ability to achieve a high raise for those employees that truly go above and beyond when they're doing the job. Right now, you go above and beyond and you get the same raise as the guy who's been holding the shovel all year. So I think it's an important one. Then the next thing we'll do after this, working on disciplinary policy to kind of go in tandem with this, so the supervisors and staff know what to expect when things don't go right. Oh, and the other thing that's important to know is it's tied to budgetary constraints. So, we might give 5% one year for an exemplary employee, and the next year we can only afford 2. But it does give us the mechanics to make sure that somebody who's exemplary will still see a higher raise than somebody who's not doing so well. It also does not afford raises for somebody who's unsatisfactory in their performance. It locks them out.
All right. Next one's also first reading, 12-13, ordinance of the city of Willard, Missouri, establishing a uniform policy for public works staff of the city of Willard.
This one, we've got some, well, I guess Nick kind of finishes up through. We currently have a uniform company that services our uniforms. They clean them and bring them back and whatnot. The uniforms, I think to put it politely, have not met the public works department's needs. They're too heavy, they're too cumbersome, they're too restrictive. They're not overly keen on them, so we're paying for service that really is not benefiting our staff. We had hoped that there might be an easy out on the contract. I'm not sure that will necessarily be the case, but we'll see if maybe there's a notice provision in there. So point being there, this uniform policy would not kick in until that uniform contract ends. But what we've determined is staff would simply like to just have something that's comfortable and neat and tidy. They have had a washing machine donated so they can wash their own stuff at the Public Works building, which is a provision in this policy that stipulates that is only for work-related clothing, not for, you know, your washing machine's broken, I'll just run in there real quick and do that for me. But it'll allow them to wash their work-related items, which the city, similar to what I did over in Kansas, the city will purchase an initial supply, just to make sure the employees have enough. And then every year, if they need another one, you know, they'll turn in their old stuff, get another one if it's damaged enough. And it kind of keeps them uniformly looking, neat and tidy. They're always in the community. Provides for hoodies for the winter and t-shirts for the summer. High visibility gear instead of black. You know, black shirts are hard to see if it's dark outside and you're not paying attention, but high vis is a little harder to miss. We'll have badging on there that is more unique and identifying to Willard. We'll have our city seal, and then on the back, you know, the City of Willard Public Works or something of the like. So the public will know exactly who that they're working. It also provides provisions in there if there's repeated damage to shirts that the city provides. You know, the employee will be responsible for the additional costs. And then it also locks in every year I think they get $250. They'll continue to get that to buy their own jeans and whatnot as well. So we're hoping this will give a more cohesive, comprehensive look and make the staff comfortable, because they're out there working pretty hard and laying sidewalks in the cold, and we want them to stay warm. And I worked this out in my last community. It worked very well. It was very well received. Over here, the Public Works had the added benefit that they'll wash their own stuff if we put the washing machine in. So it seemed like a good compromise.
I just want to make sure that it's enough money, because you get sticker shock nowadays when you go just buy a pair of jeans. They're not $20 anymore. So I just want to make sure that they have enough money in the budget that they get enough to buy what they need.
It should be $250 per employee. While my version of Public Works is probably not quite the same as theirs, but $20 for a pair of good Levi's, and they lasted me for a considerable week. So.
And boots are $200,
Boots are a little
$250 for a good pair of boots, easy. So I think I'm sure we'd all agree. We just want to make sure they get enough money to.
So this is reallocating what we currently pay for
Yes, we
uniform
will
service
not
purchase.
begin this until the uniform service question is resolved.
The uniform service, didn't we start that right about a year ago?
That one, I was actually hoping we would find a different animal than that, but yes, it's been around a minute. I don't know the discussions that went into it, but what I've gathered coming out of it is it's not quite fully served, so I don't know if Public Works. Do you know much about whether you guys are even asked about that, or was it just something throwing you away?
It was a 5-year contract, is my understanding, is what was signed into. Carolyn originally thought it was 3, and then whenever she pulled it, it was 5.
Okay. So we may have a little bit more work to do on that.
One of the motivations back then for providing uniforms was so you did not take the materials that you might deem to be hazardous home and wash in the same machine you do the kids' blankets. So that was the idea of going to a laundry service, so you didn't take the stuff you've been working in home with you.
Give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this way, if you've got your provisions longer, then that solves that issue.
Yeah, that was a concern that I raised when we talked about it, and Trevor said, well, we've had a washing machine donated, so it seemed to resolve that particular concern, assuming staff actually use it there and take it home.
Yeah, I think they would. There's been several other issues with the uniform company, but I don't know how much we kind of want to get into.
I just feel for you, Trevor, because I've worked with large groups of people before, and I can already hear the arguments and the fights in your office about who didn't take their laundry out, who didn't dry it, who left there for the weekend. So Good luck to you, my friend. Yeah, good luck to you.
We can resolve that probably a lot easier than the other issues we're dealing with.
I foresee fist fights in the parking lot.
My public works director in Lunsford, when he got the call that Walmart just got a bunch of high-vis hooded sweatshirts in, so we had a teacher from lunch, and he bought every
And everybody
yellow
bought them
high-vis
all.
sweatshirt at Walmart.
Yeah, if you're looking for t-shirts, they're $6 at Walmart right now.
All right, anything else on that one, Wes?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you. Okay, item 13, project manager status report update.
Okay, the 94 lift station force main, we're about 95% complete on engineering. They're working on some lift station modification, piping, electrical, and erosion control. We're reviewing materials of construction for the force main and costs, looking at ductile iron versus high-density polyethylene. So they're looking at pros and cons, flexibility, temperature, expansion, contraction, and things like that right now. And we may end up bidding this thing with 2 alternates, one ductile iron and one polyethylene, and see what we get. We should be wrapped up here at, say, the end of January here, toward the end of the week, that week, on that. And we send those to DNR and get them approved, and we're ready to go to bid. We don't have easement issues because we're on county or city right of way. On the meadows, we're still waiting on Greene County's environmental comment or acceptance. That's really our right of way along the Farm Road 101, 106, 103 that's been annexed in the city. We may not worry about their acceptance or concurrence on this. And easement negotiations with the landowners are progressing. Some title work still required. I'll have more on that in close. Any questions, be glad to answer them.
See, now we'll move on to sanitary sewer project status update. Is that the same one? Sorry. I did it, sorry, my bad. That was part of 13 and 14. I got subsection 14, then I got a regular 14 city administrator remarks here.
Nothing much for me. Public Works have been working on a more aggressive I&I plan. We will be kicking that off February 1, looking at the public side of our sewer infrastructure. We're going to start kicking off some manhole covers, getting some baselines, and rainy season is right around the corner, so you can't get a better time to look for leaks in the sewer system when it's pouring down the rain. So we've got a plan kicked in. I want to recognize JR. He was very excited and very energetic. I appreciated his positivity getting the plan put together. He's reviewed the CMON plan, which Alderman put together in 2022, and kind of merged the two things together and got a plan ready to roll. We've had a guy I ran into, Cliff Cates with Burns McDonald. He's been able to take our flow meters and test them, make sure that they work and they're accurate. The software was previously installed on a laptop, but we don't have access to, and of course it's proprietary. He thinks that if the flow meters test, he can get us access to the software and get it on a new laptop. So likely there'll be an expense here soon if the flow meters test out okay for a tough book, so they can take it out in the field and likely drop it, sling it across the seat, run the truck over it, and hopefully it will survive all these things a little bit better. So they can get in there, get the data in, and really start homing in on where this stuff is. We are in the process of arranging a meeting with Springfield City Utilities as well for input and guidance. They've gone down the I&I track some years back. They're very willing to share their knowledge and their learnings with us. It doesn't benefit them for all our I&I to go into their ponds any more than it does to go in our pipes. So everything coming together, I think we'll have a plan kicking in that will deliver some fruit. It's one of those things that we can save $50,000 in I&I costs this year. That's $50,000 we can pull up with the $50,000 next year, and now we got $100,000 we can put into I&I next year. and so on. Hopefully it makes them move forward. So that's one I'm pretty excited about. It sounds pretty boring, but it'll be a fun project. Final plug for the applicants for the water board. Application period closes on the 31st, which will be this Friday. So anybody's interested in that will need to get their application into the city clerk by 5 p.m. on Friday to be considered. And then at the next meeting, we'll bring those applications for you to consider for appointments.
Did we end up with a pretty good number?
I'm not sure what the current number is. I don't know if it's changed any, has it? I think we have enough to fill it.
It hasn't changed, so I think there was, what, 5 or 6?
Yeah, I think you had enough to fill it.
Yes.
We had out-of-towners and in-towners, so we should be able to get it going. Hopefully that energy will last. The rate stuff probably was what drove some of the applications, so hopefully they remain eager to help us. Talking off, rates, we wrapped up the bills, just went out at the January rate, the previous rate. We also included a bill insert reminding residents that the rates have changed, and that will begin on the next bill. We'll also put another reminder plug out on our website, notification and social media close to the time the bills go out, just to remind them that it's there. And then we will start monitoring for revenue to make sure we're keeping up and we're on track for our capital improvement plans that we've listed. Possibly delaying some a little bit if the revenue doesn't return as quickly as expected, but we're hopeful that we'll see between Mike's growth and then the revenue change, we hope we'll still be on time for our projects. We've also been engaged with the Verizon and T-Mobile folks as far as trying to come up with a plan to get their stuff off the towers, and then maybe we won't put it back to protect the investment we're about to put in there, or at least find some alternatives that will be less damning to the tower once we put all that money into them. T-Mobile's been very open to those conversations. Verizon conversations have just started, so we'll see where they go at this point. Putting stuff back up, which was what Verizon wants to do. They want to update some of their equipment. It seems okay, as long as they understand that at least needs to be talked about once we get done and make the plans for what it looks like after all these improvements as they achieve. That's all I have. Nice meeting.
All right. And item 15, new business. Anybody? No new business. Move on to 16, unfinished business. Nobody? All right. Number 17.
Everyone looks the case.
Everyone just looks like Thanks, Troy.
Do you want me to read it first and then you do it, or
No, it's
how
all
do you
good.
prefer?
I think I can manage.
All right.
I make a motion that we recess the open session and open the closed session pursuant to RSMO section 610.021 subsection legal and pursuant to RSMO section 610.021 subsection 2 real estate.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Alderman Billiard.
Yes.
Alderman Keane.
Thank you, guys.
Alderman Swatash.
Yes.
And Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Second.
Billiard, Keane, Swatash, and Wilson.
Yes.
All yay, yes.